Hi, this is Jamie Arenthal. Welcome to your Vinyasa yoga class. Today, we're going to spend a little focus on soothing our lower backs. So maybe that's for you. Remember that you can use any props, blocks, straps, chair, anything you need today to make the poses easier, to make the poses fit your body and not the other way around. Here we go. Let's begin standing. Feet are hip width apart. Lift your toes, spread them out, and lay them back down. And then place your hands on your hips. And with your knees soft, tuck the tailbone under and then release it. Nothing too strong, just start to get a little bit of movement in the pelvis. Good. And then try and come to a neutral place. So neutral just means if you had headlights pointing out from your two hip bones, the protruding hip bones, they'd be pointing straight forward, not down, right? If you were tipped, they'd be pointing down. If you were flat back, they'd kind of be pointing up. So just a neutral lower spine. Inhale your arms up and exhale, knees soft, hinge forward, forward fold. So I generally keep my knees soft, especially at the beginning, just to allow that lower back to relax. Tuck your chin, bend the knees more, roll your way up one vertebra at a time. Head last to come up, circle your shoulders forward, up, back, and down. Inhale, exhale, swan dive. Knees soft, roll up. Shoulders up and back and down. One more. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, swan dive. Knees soft. Bend knees more. Roll up. Beautiful. Circle those shoulders up, back, and down. Inhale, the arms up. This time, join your palms together. Exhale, prayer to heart. And take a moment here. You can close your eyes. Breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the nose. Take a moment to set your intention for your yoga practice today. Ahimsa is my go-to. Nonviolence, do no harm. Having self-compassion. Beautiful. Knees soft. Inhale the arms up. And exhale, swan dive over. So your fingertips can be on the floor. If you'd like, you could use blocks here. And just have the knees soft. Bend the right knee a lot and see if you could just gently straighten the left leg. And then change sides. So bend the left knee, straighten the right. And again, if you don't have blocks, you could use a chair. Just have your hands on the seat of a chair. And just alternate side to side. Beautiful. And then bend both knees. You can move those blocks out of your way. Coming halfway up, inhale to a flat back. So what does that mean, flat back? We're just lifting our hearts up, reaching our gaze forward, extending our spine from tail to crown. And then as you exhale, relax that. Pull your belly button in, forward fold, nose points to knees. Try that again. Walk your hands up as high as you need to. Again, you could also be using a chair. And then as you exhale, round yourself over. So it's a standing cat and cow. One more. Inhale, coming up, lengthening the spine on the inhalation. And as you exhale, contract through the middle. Good. Walk the right leg back. You could always place that right knee on the floor. Inhale the arms up, Anjaneyasana. So a couple of the things that help us keep our pelvis balanced, we stretch the front of the thigh, the hip flexor, and we stretch the back of the thigh, the hamstring. So exhale, release your hands. step back, downward facing dog. So knees can be bent here and you can pedal those heels, enjoying that sensation of stretching your calves. And then rise up to your tippy toes. Inhale forward to a plank. Lower your knees, lower your chin, lower your chest. As you inhale onto the belly, glue your toes to the floor and very gently press your heart up. Now keep in mind that we want to keep the pubic bone aiming down. That's going to help us keep the bend out of the lumbar spine and keep it in the thoracic spine by the ribs. And then you can release it, bend your knees, press back to child's pose. So a really nice thing to do for your spine are child's poses. But if it's not great for your knees, you can always curl the toes, walk the hands a little further away and come to puppy pose, halfway between child's pose and downward facing dog. And then a really nice lateral stretch here. Walk your hands over to the right. You could stay up on your fingertips if that feels good, or flat hands, and lower your head between those straight arms. You'll feel stretch through left side body. Breathing in through the nose, breathing out through the nose. Walk yourself back through center. Stay outstretched over to your left side. Again, you could be up on your fingertips if that feels good, or palms flat. Lower your head between your straight arms. In through the nose, out through the nose. Then back to center. Toes curled under, lift knees, downward facing dog. Bend your knees, look forward. You could lift that right leg and send it forward, or you could take little baby steps and walk your way all the way up to the front of your mat. Inhale, flat back, and exhale to fold. Bend your knees, roll up like you're massaging all of your internal organs and releasing the hands by the sides. Inhale again. Exhale, swan dive. Coming halfway up, flat back. And then exhale, nose to knees, Uttanasana. This time the left leg steps back. You could lower the left knee if you like. High lunge, Anjaneyasana. Gently stretching through the left hip flexor. That's the front of the left hip. It's that crease, right? Like when you sit down, you're flexing the hip flexor. And when you straighten that left leg behind you, you are extending it. Exhale, downward facing dog. Knees soft. You can pedal if it feels good. And then rise up on your tippy toes. Inhale forward to plank. Exhale, knees, chin, and chest. Slide onto your belly. Toenail sides of the toes glued down. And very gently press the chest up, eyes up. Never going so far that you feel your lower back tweaking. Try and get that extension coming from the thoracic spine. And then exhale, melt your way back to the mat. Bend your knees. Push back to child's pose. And this time we'll take a twist. So come back up to all fours. Lift that right arm up. And then exhale, thread the needle. So the right knuckles slide through until maybe you can place that right shoulder and right temple to the floor. Just a gentle twist. And what I like about thread the needle is that the weight, the compression on your spine is reversed, right? Just having the tail higher than the head. And then press left hand into the mat. Inhale and reach that right arm back up, and then we'll change sides. So inhale your left arm up, knuckles down, thread the needle, reaching that left arm through as far as you can, placing left shoulder, left temple on the floor. Breathing in through the nose, breathing out through the nose. So probably the worst thing we can do when we have an injury or discomfort is to do any kind of extreme pose. Like we don't want to over twist, over bend, over stretch. We just want to keep it moderate. So keep that in mind. Press your right hand into the mat and inhale that left arm up just to unwind, and then release the hands down. Curl the toes, downward facing dog. Bend your knees, look forward. You could lift the left leg up and step it forward, or walk your way to the front of your mat. Inhale, flat back, and exhale to fold. Knees soft, reverse swan dive. Coming all the way up, and palms come to heart center. Repeating that. Inhale, swan dive, exhale everything out. Flat back, inhale, and exhale to fold. Right leg steps back, high lunge your way. And exhale, down dog. Tippy toes, knees, chin, and chest. Baby cobra. Child's pose to downward facing dog. Right leg up. Send it forward. Left foot follows. Forward fold. Reverse swan dive. And exhale, centering breath to heart. Inhale, swan dive. Flat back and fold. Left foot back. High lunge. Downward facing dog. Come through that modified vinyasa one more time. Knees, chin, chest. Baby cobra, attach the tops of your feet to the floor. Lift your kneecaps, engaging the muscles that stabilize the pelvis and lengthen the lumbar spine. And then releasing it. Child's pose. Downward dog. Left leg up. Step it forward. Right foot follows. Forward fold. Bend those knees a lot. Reverse your swan. Prayer to heart center. So keeping in mind as we go that you can always employ that modified vinyasa, and that will help to keep pressure off the lower spine. Bend your knees, circle the arms by ears. Keeping in mind here, if your back is bothering you, maybe your arms are shoulder height or even holding on to those thighs. Exhale over, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Now as you exhale, step back or jump back. Lift those kneecaps. Exhale, halfway down, chaturanga. Inhale, tops of feet, upward facing dog. Exhale, straight legs, curl toes, down dog. So you get to decide if that's how you want to proceed. Keep in mind that jumping is jarring to that lumbar spine. So I would avoid that if your lower back is talking to you today. Bend your knees, look forward. Feel free to step, or gently jump forward. Inhale, flat back and forward fold. Bend your knees, circle the arms by ears and stand, Tadasana. A few more times, just like that. Chair, fold, prepare, left foot, right foot, or jump. Vinyasa, down dog. Breathing here. Always know that you have the option to lower your knees to the floor and rest in child's pose. When you're ready, bend your knees, step left, right, or gently hop. Inhale, flat back, and exhale, forward fold. Knees bend, chair pose, Tadasana. Let's add on chair, fold, prepare your vinyasa. Always an option to omit the vinyasa and come straight back to downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up. Open your hip if that feels okay, and you can bend the knee. And this will help you stretch that quadratus lumborum. And that's the muscle that helps to stabilize your pelvis, also known as love handles, lovingly known. And exhale the right foot between your hands. Always feel free to use your right hand to help you move that foot forward. Come on up to your fingertips. So nice long spine. Turn the left heel down and carefully lift warrior one. So I do find that when my back is tweaky, that's one of the harder moves for me to lift straight up. So you can always feel allowed, if you would, to press yourself up from here and then open your arms up. So just a way to modify. Keep your gaze forward and open your arms for warrior two. The spine is vertical. So try not to lean back or reach forward. Just center yourself here. Right palm opens. Use the left hand to support you as you reach those right fingers up. Gently turn your gaze up. Cartwheel hands to floor. Step back through vinyasa, meeting you, downward facing dog. Left leg lifts. Opportunity, if you would, to bend that left knee. Again, just a little bit more stretch through the front of the thigh and that quadratus lumborum. Left foot forward. Fingertips. Right heel down. Your way up to warrior one. Keeping gaze forward. Port the arms. Warrior two. Spine vertical. Tip it back, peaceful. Let that right arm support you. Gaze toward that left palm. And cartwheeling hands. Vinyasa to downward facing dog. Breathing here or resting in child's pose. Bend knees, look forward. You could step right, left, or hop, flat back, fold, chair pose, Tadasana. Repeating that, chair, fold, prepare, left, right, or jump. Downward facing. Right leg up. Feel free to open that hip and bend the knee. Warrior one. Warrior two. Peaceful warrior. Support yourself. Chaturanga to downward facing. Left side. Warrior one. Warrior two. Peaceful warrior. Your vinyasa to downward facing dog. Breathe here or rest. Bend your knees, look forward, left, right, or hop, flat back, fold, chair, Tadasana. Beautiful. So practicing the standing pose, dancer pose. So I really like to have my chair handy for dancer pose. So starting from our Tadasana, mountain pose. Shift your weight to your right foot. Bend the left knee. You can hold on, reach for that left ankle. If you're not holding on, right arm is reaching up. Make sure the thumb is pointing backwards. That'll help you to keep your shoulder in its socket. And feel free to stay right here, right? This is dancer pose. If you want more, start with the leg. So start to pull the left foot away from that left arm and start to lift that left toe to the sky. What happens with the body, it will follow, but don't lean the body first. Allow the movement of that left leg to determine how far you bring your body parallel with the floor. And again, use whatever you need to stay steady. If you fall out of the pose, it's simply an opportunity to come back and try it again. And then when you're ready, back to vertical. You can release the left foot, release the right arm. Readjust. Lift those toes, Tadasana. Weight on the left foot. Bend the right knee. Reach for the right ankle with the right hand. And either hold on or left arm above. And make sure the thumb is pointing back so you can plug that shoulder into its socket. Feel free to stay here. Dancer pose, Nataranga, something like that. Natarasana. I have to look it up. And if you want more, start with the leg. The body's upright. You're going to start to pull the right leg or the right foot away from your right hand, creating tension. And then start to aim that right toe up toward the sky. And that will inform how far over you might bend. And there's no crease in that right hip. You're pulling that right foot away from you. And that's helping you to stretch the right hip flexor, focusing your gaze on something unmoving, and breathe. When you're ready, back to vertical. Release the foot, release the arm, and reset. Nice. Coming into some more of our standing poses. There'll be optional vinyasas here. You can always add them in. Step the right foot back and bend the left knee. Start with warrior one. Open out, warrior two. Let's straighten the left leg. Shift the hips over to the right. And just by shifting the hips to the right, we tip the spine to diagonal and then windshield your hands into place. Keep in mind, if I reach too far, I turn this into a forward fold. And that's not what I want to do. I want this to be lateral and I want support. So you can hold on above your knee. You could hold on to your shin. Maybe you need a block, whatever it is, whatever works for you. And think about moving your left ribs forward and your right ribs back. Uttita Trikonasana. Uttita means revolved, right? And Trikonasana, it's that triangle. So revolve, triangle. Go ahead and bend the left knee. You can rest that forearm on the left thigh. And I like to walk the right foot back just to give me a little bit more room here. Sweep that right arm by the right ear. Make lots of space right here under your armpit with the ribs. Like, don't allow yourself to sink down. Keep that tension as you press that left elbow away into that thigh. And then maybe you'll extend that side angle, one straight line from the right heel to the right fingertips. And we're continuing that Uttita, that revolution. We're going to move those left ribs forward and the right ribs back. Now, if you have a bind in your practice, feel free. But today I'm doing soothing back. And what the binds do is they just bring the pose deeper, which may not be appropriate for you today. Nice. You can release your hands down to the floor. And hopefully you've got some blocks handy. And just place the blocks on either side of that left foot. Start to walk the back foot closer. So maybe if my warrior pose and triangles have about 3 feet of distance, right? I was back here. I really just want maybe 2 feet. And the other thing you could do, if you notice my right toe is turned out on an angle, you can square your hips and point all your toes facing in the same direction. Walk those blocks right under the shoulders and inhale to a flat back. And as you exhale, forward fold, pour yourself over that left leg. So do what you need to with those blocks, right? Again, this could have a chair, right? I could have the seat of the chair here and just be allowing my upper body to press through my arms, getting a little bit kinder to my spine. And then for those of you who want it, you can step back and come through a vinyasa. Otherwise, just meet us in downward facing dog. We'll step the right foot forward, lower the left heel. Warrior one. Open yourself to warrior two. And let's straighten the right leg. Shift your hips over to the left. So that's going to naturally just move my spine to an angle and then windmill your hands into place. Again, for me, I like to support myself above my knee. You could, of course, reach further down to the floor, but look what happens to me. If I do that, I lose it, right? My whole buttocks stick out behind me, which I don't want. I want this tucked under me and I want it two-dimensional. And if I can, I'm looking up toward my left thumb, keeping ease in my shoulders, ease in my neck, feeling the length in the back of the right thigh. Then the right knee. You can place that right forearm on the right thigh, and I scoot my left heel back. It just feels a little better for me. Move that right rib forward and the left rib back. And if you want it, you could extend side angle, one long line from the left heel to the left fingers. No wrinkles in the back of your neck. You're just tucking your chin gently and gazing toward that left armpit. And then when you're ready, bring both hands to the floor, or if you've got blocks handy. And we'll step the left foot forward. And you could either have left toe turned out traditionally, or you could turn all the toes to point in the same direction. So that helps you square your hips a little bit. So I will say, if you're having back pain, I would square. Come on up to your fingertips, lengthen your spine, or use that chair. And then as you exhale, pull your belly button in, pour yourself over that right leg, adjust your blocks accordingly. So the benefits of this pyramid pose, we are stretching the right hamstring, and hamstrings, when tight, pull on our pelvis, and they're attached to where the sit bones are, the ischium, right? So they tend to pull the pelvis down so that the lumbar spine ends up feeling pressure and stretch instead of being in neutral. So we want to stretch those hamstrings to allow us to balance that pelvis in a neutral state. So from here, for those of you who want a vinyasa, you can go ahead. Otherwise, we'll meet you back in downward facing dog. And I'd like that right leg up, step it forward. We're going to lower the left knee here. Coming onto your fingertips, you can relax the toes behind you. So we're doing a nice hip flexor stretch here. What I would like to suggest to you is walk the right foot a little bit to the right and bring your hand inside. The toes could point out a little bit, and see if you can press the hips forward here. The next possibility here is maybe coming to a crocodile pose. For me, I like blocks. But if you can, you just bring your elbows, forearms down to the floor. I'm on blocks, and allow your hips to press forward. And I've got one more variation. It includes that hip flexor. If you like, you can bend the right knee and you can reach around with the right, that's the left knee, I'm sorry. Bend the left knee and reach around to the outside of that left foot. So I'm holding on to the pinky toe side and my thumb is pointing up. And the reason is, if I have it down, my shoulder is forward, and I don't want that. I want my shoulder back behind me. Now, any variations here? It's really nice. You can release it and go ahead and walk yourself back right? Straighten that right leg. You're flexing that toe and exhale over that right leg. Like a little hurdler stretch. Bring that right hand inside. Bring the right leg behind you. And you can take a break here, or for those of you who'd like a vinyasa, go for it. For the rest of us, when you're ready, we're going to step that left foot forward onto our fingertips. And what I'd like you to do is move that left arm inside the left leg, and you could walk your left foot away. So maybe the knee points out. Let's see if you could see this. So I'm inside that left leg. And then again, crocodile. So if you like, you can use blocks as I do and walk your way onto your forearms and stay. Right? If you wanted that hip flexor stretch, you could bend the right knee, reach around with your left hand this time, holding onto the pinky toe side of that right foot with your left thumb pointing up. And again, that's so that you can plug that shoulder blade, bring it in down your back. So just to point out, there's a kind of moderate twist happening here. You can release, walk your hands back, flexing that left foot and bowing over that left leg for a little hurdler stretch. Again, just more stretching through that hamstring, the back of the thigh now. If you can, you're flexing that left toe so it's pointing up. Moving that left hand inside the leg. You could bring that left leg around behind you, resting in child's pose, or take a vinyasa. We'll meet you here on your knees. So the next thing I'd like to do is pigeon, but I want to be really clear that going with the theme of moderation, the safest way to do pigeon is on your back. So I'm going to move my microphone around. So if it crackles or pops, I'm sorry. And if you're going to modify pigeon and do it supine on your back, follow me here. So roll your way down, cross your right ankle over the left thigh and use your hand to gently press that right knee away. If that's enough for you, stay here. If you want more, you can lift the legs up, reach through the triangle formed by your legs with your right hand. Left hand goes to the outside and you can interlace your hands on the back of that left thigh and pull your shoulders down to the floor. For those of you who have freakishly long arms like I do, or you're just more flexible, you could reach your hands up to that left shin, interlace, and again, hug those shoulders down to the floor. For anybody who wants to stick with prone pigeon, the right knee is aiming toward the outer edge of your mat, right? It's not pointing forward in the sagittal plane. You want to get that leg pointing out and the hands are inside, and you can walk or wriggle the right toes up toward your left wrist. You could take a little preparatory back bends here. It's really great because it's protected by having that right hip flexed. You're protecting your lumbar. And then maybe come on to elbows, stack fists, forehead, back of fists. If you feel like you can go deeper, you can always extend the elbows wide, flat hands, forehead, back of hands. And for anybody who feels like they can't keep their hips level, you could always use a little reminder. So notice I'm not sitting on the block. I'm just using it as like a little wedge. Now, if you're on your back and you've had enough, you can uncross that right ankle from the left thigh, and you can simply hug your knees into your chest gently, maybe draw circles, rock side to side. For prone pigeon, hands under your shoulders, press yourself up. And again, if you want to bind here, we've really been stretching those hip flexors a lot. You can bend that left knee. You could reach around with your left hand. This time you're on the inside of the foot with your thumb pointing up. You can always bind here. So bringing that toe to the crook of the left elbow, and then Gomukhasana hands. So obviously you do what's right for you. For those of you who are on your back, you're going to now cross your left ankle over your right knee. Reach the left hand through the triangle formed by your legs and interlace your hands behind that right thigh, or maybe on top of the shin, and then pull your shoulders down. For the rest of us, sit off to the right, bring the left leg around, and then the right leg comes behind you. So we'll start off here. Just make sure the knee is pointing out and away from you. It's not pointing forward. Right? And you're going to wriggle the left toes up toward that right wrist. Maybe do a little preparatory protected back bend. I love this. It's like one of my favorite poses right here. And then come on down to your elbows, stack fists, forehead, back of hands. You can go deeper, flat hands. If you're on your back, you can uncross the legs, keep the knees together, draw circles, change direction. And for those of you in prone pigeon, so facing down, you can walk your hands under your shoulders. Again, come to that back bend. Opportunity for a bind. So you could bend the right knee this time, reach around with the right hand to the inside of that right foot, thumb points up. And for those of you who have the bind, you could bring that right toe to the crook of the right elbow, left arm lifts, and you find Gomukhasana arms. That's King Pigeon pose. When you're ready, you can release, sit off to your left hip, swing the right leg around, and find your way to your back. You can take your feet to the outer edges of your mat, so as wide as you can. And you're on your back here. I'm just sitting up to demonstrate, but you could drop the knee so that the inside of the knee maybe touches the floor. Again, this is a twist and a gentle twist and a hip flexor stretch. And I know when you're dealing with lower back pain, we're so focused on the back, but we have to think about having balance, front and back. And that's why we're doing these hip flexor stretches. Good. And then release. And now on your back, you can walk your feet so that they're parallel and lift your hips up for a bridge. Sorry, just fighting the microphone. So if you're in a bridge, you're lifting those hips up, sliding your shoulder blades underneath you. And you could do lots of things here. You could make this restorative, turn the block sideways and place it under your sacrum. So that's halfway between your tailbone and your waist. And again, you could maybe do it on a higher level like this. I can't. So we're just here, right? And then other options for you. If you don't do the block, you could do your full wheel here. But for anybody struggling with a back issue, this is a really nice place to be. There's just this comfort in grounding the pelvis onto the nice block. I was going to say the nice soft block, but I guess that depends what you're using. Just another few breaths. If you're doing full wheel, you can do that a few times. Whenever you're ready, slide the block away, roll yourself down one vertebra at a time, separate your feet as wide as the mat, and windshield wipe your knees. Coming into Savasana, final relaxation. Again, nursing the back, just keep the heels wide and turn your toes to point towards each other and tense your knees together. And this could be your relaxed position for Shavasana, final relaxation. Otherwise, extend the legs into a comfortable V, tuck your buttocks beneath you, and then everyone bring your shoulder blades under you, letting the arms splay wide. If there's any tension in your neck, you could tuck your chin here and then release it. Eyes closed, lips touching, breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the nose. Feel free to use a mantra, a mind tool, such as so hum. Sanskrit means I am that, which is referring to our connection with the universe and with each other. We are one. I am all that is. Inhaling so, exhaling hum. As many times as your mind wanders gently, without judgment. Using ahimsa, bring your awareness back to the breath. So hum. So hum. So hum. So hum. So hum. Feeling free to stay in Savasana as long as you desire. If you would like to leave, begin by deepening your breath, inhaling fully, belly rises, open your mouth, exhale, ha. Deep breath in, belly rises, ha. Deep breath in, belly rises, ha. Move your fingers, move your toes. You can clench your hands into fists and splay the fingers out wide and repeat. You can point your toes and flex your heels and repeat. Circle your hands at the wrist. Circle your feet at the ankles. Change directions. Bend your knees, walk your feet to the outer edges of your mat. And one last time, slowly windshield wipe knees. Again, the wider your feet, the better. And you can take everything over to one side in a side lying child's pose, stacking knee over knee, hip over hip, shoulder over shoulder, maybe even using one arm to rest your head on. Using your other arm, press into the mat, lift yourself up to easy seated pose, Sukhasana. We'll finish our yoga practice today with Namaste, both a greeting and a prayer. The light and the love in me recognize and bow to the light and the love in each of you. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining us today.